Oh, man. Well, buckle up, Buttercup. I love this job, and sometimes I don't. Just breathe. So, that was nice. A nice little ring. Here we are in the holidays, and we just had a nice concert. Good eating. And it's a wonderful time of the year, but it can also be a very uncomfortable time as well. So my talk today is going to hopefully bridge the gap, allow everyone to see a piece of what I'm about to talk about and take it in. But one thing I liked about this season is my nuts. Oh, whoops. Oh, man. Wow. Again, I did it. As I'm saying it, my brain's going, don't. I'm talking about chestnuts. I'm talking about... Oh, my gosh. I love my job. Pistachios. I mean, roasted fires. That plate when I was a kid that had those little spikes and you just eat that, the walnuts and stuff. Oh, God, I just loved it. And then when Grandma made the candied walnuts, I'm getting fat just thinking about it. In a nutshell, this part of the season, it's fun kind of come up with talks. And everyone's weeks out. I mean, these ladies here, 3 weeks from now. In fact, they probably have a talk for next year that they're already working on. I'm giving you kudos. I'm giving you kudos. I, on the other hand, I have plans, but I don't put anything on it because I found through this philosophy, for me, staying open and not putting a label on a talk allows the universe to show me opportunities. I'm always thinking about what I'm doing and staying in that flow like we always talk about. But I've learned to trust this thing called it. You may call it spirit, you may call it God, the universe, astrological signs. But it's always there. And so I trust that process. And so I come up with my talks a little bit late. This is Emma Curtis Hopkins. If we have occupied our thinking mind with what we shall eat or drink or wear or other subjects, we become little more than mannequins. And that's what I want to talk about. The reason why I said in a nutshell is because what is that? I mean, look at what a nutshell is, or a nut, a peanut, a pistachio. That shell is there because it protects what's inside of it. That universal growth of becoming the next generation or the next thought. So it seems hard and rigid. How many of us here can relate to that idea of now looking at a walnut shell and seeing yourself represented as that piece? I love this philosophy because it allows me to see more things, everyday things, as a universal example of oneness, of inclusion, of love. And there's God calling right now. So here I have mannequins. And it truly is. I mean, when you think about it, you're so worried. I mean, we just had this wonderful dance, and I'm telling you what, people were dressed to the nines. But if that's all you're worried about is how do I look towards others, it's nice to do that. But what does it make you feel like? Do you think that you have to overdress or overcompensate because you feel less than on the inside. That shell was created, like I said, to protect you. It may have come from outside sources. As we're growing up, we're so pliable. But things happen in our life, in our circle of experiences, that where I was once open and showing my feelings and my emotions and acting what naturally came to me, because it didn't conform to this neighborhood's idea of what actions should look like, I learned to hide that stuff. And I got so good at it, I didn't even realize I had a shell. Sometimes life has made us callous, causing us to harden our emotions and creating a shell to protect ourselves. I love it when I start getting into my talk, and I just talked about the next slide, and I don't even know what's coming up. I just have fun, people. That's what this life is all about, having fun. And I'm not talking about fun like, forget work and forget responsibilities. Yes, that comes with it. But I can be responsible and have fun. It's not this or that. It's everything. It's enjoying life in its totality. I can have fun, but be responsible. I just love this stuff. You're damn right. NWA. For those people, this right here, this is not the whole crew. In fact, actually, who you see there, the guy with the fro, that's actually Snoop Dogg. He was not part of NWA. NWA was the first, they were the gangster raps. They are what, that group is what created that gangster rap. And that's what I listened to. And so Snoop Dogg in the back, he was from Long Beach. He was not part of the NWA, but he was still part of that whole group. They collaborated together. The gentleman on the left with the D on, that's Dr. Dre. And then Ice Cube. These guys grew up in a neighborhood to where they had to have that shell so wrapped around who they were that they had to put on this persona of, well, the song title is called F the Police. Because they were so oppressed, or what they thought they were being oppressed as, because why? They were told you got to act like this, and because your actions, this is going to be the results. You do this, guess what? It doesn't align with what society says, the police come in and start messing with you. So they had this shell wrapped around them, and they sang about it, and they created this whole movement. Very good music. It wasn't very uplifting, but it was truthful from their perspective. It wasn't a universal truth. It was a relative truth. How many of us here are living our life from a relative standpoint, not from the absolute standpoint that spirit is all there is, that my mind is always connected to spirit. And so what I think about, I manifest, I have manifest because I allow the law. The law always is listening, and it says yes. So here these guys are, young guys, having the means and opportunity to create what life that they want to. We live in the mind, and it can only return to us only what we think into it. No matter what we do, law will always obtain. If we are thinking of ourselves as poor, as needy, then mind has no choice but to return what we have thought into it. It is done on you as you believe. Bringing all philosophies together, that is one of the truths, regardless of what religion you're based out of. It is done unto you as you believe, a universal truth. And so here these guys are young, finally able to do what they want without having mommy say you got to be home by 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever, which they probably at 13 were like, I'm staying out till however I want to, because I was kind of like that. But that quote right there is from Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, page 301, paragraph 3. There's truth in that book. That book has changed my life and has opened my eyes. It has cracked my shell to allow what has always been inside each and every one of us, that divine love, that divine expression. Even these gentlemen had that love, that creativity, that spark, that influence of positivity, even though they may have come from an area of oppression. There's a divine right order in each and every one of us, always to expand, always to become more than what we are right now. So, there's Snoop Dogg with Martha Stewart. I mean, can you be any more of far apart? Someone like that, but yet Snoop Dogg is funny as hell, smart as a whip. I see him in passing on the videos and interviews and things like that. Very generous, very kind, very loving, very open, very, what am I trying to say? He's always there to teach someone who wants to learn. Then you have Dr. Dre over there on his keyboard right there. That man is one of the best producers around. So here he goes from being this rapping kid that hated everything, all situations, and yet he's an inspiration. If you ever had headphones, Beats, guess what? He's the gentleman that did that. Beats by Dr. Dre. The music that he has, all the rapping stuff. Let's see, Eminem. Oh, gotta love him. But he's changed so much. Why? Because he had that inspiration, that divine urge to be who and what he was. He cracked open his shell. And he let people see who he truly was. Not who he was at a young age, because he had to have that shell to protect himself. He allowed himself to crack that open and allow that inspiration to grow within him. And then you have Ice Cube, who's, talk about hardcore, man. You don't want to mess with him. But yet now he's making funny movies, Barbershop, and then Where the Hell Are Your Kids? Who'd ever think that this type of guy, starting off rough and tough, don't mess with me, to being a humongous comedian and so funny and such a loving parent. I mean, his son, when they did the remake of their movie, and his son got to play his dad. They didn't let their nutshell stop their creativity. Don't let what shell you may have around your heart stop you from your divine birthright of expressing, of being that inspiration to the person right next to you. We always talk about how I may never know who I influence. There are a few that come up to me and say yes and wonderful talk, and I love that. But there's others who won't say a word but just go out. And something I may have said, something that these ladies may have said, something that our boss may have said. But it sticks with them. It's all getting rid of that nutshell. Even though the shell looks like the end, it is waiting for something, a solvent. Now here we go. We're going to get into science. Here we are, spiritual science of mind. There we go. Oh, and that's what I want to talk about. I totally forgot she was going to do her rap. And here I am talking about NWA. You see, this is what I'm talking about. You see the continuity of thought, of expression. All of a sudden, here I am talking and thinking about, okay, who do I have as an example that started off here, but has ended up here? And these guys got into my head, and here she is doing her rap. This is what I'm trying to tell you and show you. Spirit is always listening. The law is always listening. Whether you say it verbally or whether you think it, it's always listening. So guess what? That means we're no longer a victim. I'm sorry. There's your Christmas present. You're not a victim. You have a choice on how you view life. And by choosing that higher frequency, that frequency of love, you can't do anything but change the consciousness of everything around you. We always talking about changing lives one heart at a time. You want to change this world? Don't start with somebody on the other side of the planet or on the other side of the continent. It has to start in your own bedroom, in your own skin. Be that influence you'd like to see in this world. Solvents are liquid, gas, or solid chemicals that dissolve, extract, or suspend other substances. The most common and universal solvent is water, which dissolves more substances than any other. There's your science fact. Here it is, the most basic thing that we're constantly drinking. That is the world's best solvent. It can take things and melt it down. That's how mountains become beaches. Yes, there you go. Water. Every single drop of rain is taking and diluting and breaking down the components of a mountain. So even some part in the future, Mount Everest is going to be a grain of sand on a beach. Water plus shell plus soil equals germination, which creates a tree, which creates shade. Water, I love how I can see, and I want you to see if you can see along with me, how everything on this planet, every situation that we're dealing with is a God experience. It's not coming here on Sundays and listening to a great band and the world's second best rapper. It's coming in and realizing that the divinity that's already in you, see the connection, the continuity of everyday life as Spirit saying, here I am. I'm waiting for you. What do you want? Talk about the best room service. Cause and effect. The thought becomes the thing. The seed, the shell, with the soil, the law, becomes the tree. It's that simple. The thought becomes the thing. So let us crack open that shell and allow that meaty kernel, that peanut, the inside of that seed, let it break open and grow. Let your love, let your essence grow and become the tree and the shade for someone else who may be struggling, who may need a rest. Again, you will never know who you affect in this life just by saying hello. How much power is that when you can sit and think about just saying hello to a stranger? You could change their life. You could change their day. It's such a simple thing. But how powerful is that? So in a nutshell, this holiday season, let love soften and crack open any shell you may have. Allow people to do what they do. There's some people I will invite to my house, and there's other people who I will not. But I love them all. because every single one is a teacher to me, because I'm always living this life from the standpoint of what is Spirit telling me. Regardless of its form, or regardless of the mannequin that's in front of me, I know that inside that mannequin is a divine power. It is always working. It's always there. I have to hear it. This ear doesn't hear so well, but this one, well, it hears better. Be that love. And when you can be that love, you can experience that love. Give and you shall receive. Don't wait for someone to give you love. Don't wait for someone to give you compassion. Don't wait for someone to give you that type of present. Give that present without any expectations. And just watch the abundance. Watch how Spirit works and brings back to you tenfold what you give. Because it works like that. It's a universal law. See beyond the nutshells of other people and know that there is a divine possibility in everyone and everything. I just said that. I love myself. I'm ahead of my time. So this holiday season, see every situation through the eyes of love. Put on those rose-colored glasses and just see the divinity in each and every person that you come across. Whether they drive a Maserati or whether they have to walk to work, there is no difference. Everyone, everything is nothing but Spirit in action. Expressing their divine right order. Know that what you think about, you bring about. And so ends your lesson.